you will get in the written test. 99% those questions, in or out of those questions will be asked in the interview also. ठीक है, जैसे आप लोग बहुत ज्यादा जुगाड़ के भरोसे रहते हो तो चीटिंग करो, हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, unless you are getting caught. ओके, चीटिंग करो, क्लियर करो, सब कुछ सही है, लेकिन इंटेलिजेंटली करो, पढ़ के करो, so that the questions that is been asked in the written test, when asked in the interview, you should be able to justify them and clear them. So let's start with hardware, some basic concepts. See, the topics are very, very, very huge and vast. Okay, तो मैंने कुछ questions collect किए थे जिसके ऊपर बेस करके I am doing this session. थोड़ा सा input आपको मिलेगा, बाकी उसी के in and around आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा. So the various hardware components of a PC like CPU, motherboard, RAM, video card, cooling fan, SMPS, hard drive, monitor, printer, and IC. यहाँ से किस तरह का क्वेश्चन आ सकता है? Like there can be some multiple choices. Like I have put some questions at the end. I'll show you. Like they will give you 4 components, right? And tell you to find out which is not a software, which is not a hardware. You need to find out. Now questions on CMOS, BIOS, post, booting. They are asking a lot. So what is CMOS? I have just pointed certain very, very important, you can say acronyms and details here. CMOS is complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It's an integrated circuit built on a printed circuit board. It is a battery powered memory chip that holds a system initialization data. CMOS कहाँ मिलता है बताइए कोई? बैटरी होता है अपना, है ना? CMOS battery. Yes, now it is responsible for maintaining the date and time of the system. A very important point here, like the question is asked, who maintains the date and time of a system? And major mistake we do is writing clock. There is a clock in the system. There is a clock in the PC, but clock is responsible for synchronization. It produces pulses. The way heart synchronizes the component of our body, the pulse, the heartbeat. Similarly, clock chip synchronizes the hardwares. Okay. Now, who maintains the date and time? आपको पता होगा ना, जैसे बैटरी डेड हो जाता है तो डेट टाइम सब इधर उधर हो जाता है ना? So the CMOS is responsible for maintaining the date and timing. Now, what is the BIOS? It's a basic input output system. कोई बताएगा BIOS हार्डवेयर है कि सॉफ्टवेयर है? Whether BIOS is a hardware or software?
Software.
It's a software. Very good. So this can be one question from there, like which is a hardware, which is a software from there. Now it's also known as system BIOS, ROM BIOS, BIOS ROM, or PC BIOS. कुछ भी पूछ सकता है. It's a firmware that is used to provide the runtime service for operating system. So basically, the thing that is available in BIOS is post. Post is power and self-test. What happens here? Whenever you switch on a system, okay, post checks like whether everything is in place or not. Minimum things that is required. It first checks for the RAM, then CPU, like this. It checks for the various components, availability of the components by post. Now the next one is when the power button is on, it is pressed. A very, very basic questions they ask which people are failing to answer. And from this only MCQs. The first chipset that gets activated is called BIOS. The software that gets activated is BIOS. It is responsible for 3 things. First, it performs a power on self-test or BIOS post. Sorry. Now it verifies the way I told you, keyboard, RAM, drive, other hardwares are correctly working or not. If everything works correctly, it gives a small beep. We all know, like when you switch on the system, you get a beep. If something is wrong, it will give some more beeps. Like on a gigabyte motherboard, one short beep means system is normal. One long beep means RAM is not working properly. Long short is card error. This we discussed in class also, I used to tell. Next, what it does? The very important job is it searches to find the storage device and loads the master boot recorder. How the booting takes place. खाली hardware चलने से थोड़ी ना होगा. We need the operating system to be loaded, right? So this operating system when you need to load, then master boot recorder is required. So this master boot recorder is located and it is copied to the RAM. Master boot recorder का काम क्या होता है? It copies the other necessary files to the memory. We have that later on. So the MBR contains a partition table that has got entries regarding the partition of the storage device. C drive, D drive, E drive. Now BIOS will look at the partition table and identify which partition is bootable if you're booting from the hard drive. Like my C drive contains the operating system. So the MBR is going to search for the drives and find out which drive contains the bootable partition. Now, if there is just one bootable partition, it will proceed to the boot process. Anybody of you have dual booting? If you have dual booting, you'll find grub coming, alright? If I have Red Hat Linux or any variant of Linux, you get the bootloader menu or grub coming up, which is showing you various booting options, which one you want to boot. And if there is only one bootable option, then it will proceed to the boot process. Now, what is the job of the bootloader? The BIOS knows which partition to boot from. So it will go to that partition and again load a program stored in the first 512 bytes of the selected partition. Now, any of you has this doubt that why it is 512 bytes only? Why it is not more? Why it is not less? Because your BIOS is a very old program that is written. Okay, as it's a very old program that is written, it's able to access only 9 bits. So that is why 2 to the power 9 is 512 bytes. That is what it is going to search. That is what it is going to read only. So the bootloader is written within that. So this program is known as the bootloader. Now this bootloader is a vendor proprietary image responsible for bringing up the kernel in a device. Now, what it does also, it guards the device state and is responsible for initializing trusted execution environment. Otherwise, if it is not going to bind the root of trust, it's not going to load. Now, if we are using Linux, then the bootloader will either be grub or lilo. Loadin is also used, but grub or lilo is very, very popular. What grub stands for? Grand Unified Bootloader. Please try to remember these things. In case of Windows, the program is very creatively called Windows bootloader. Okay, the bootloader is responsible for loading the operating system into the RAM. ये सादा भाषा में. Bootloader क्या करता है? OS को load करता है. But there are various parts of it. Booting sequence is very important. Now, once the bootloader is copied, then the BIOS gives the execution control to the bootloader. So BIOS का पहला काम क्या रहा? It will search for all the hardwares. Then what is the next job of it? It will search for the bootloader. Okay, partitions pehle. Then from the partitions, MBR, it will get the partition. From partition, it will get the bootloader. Then transfer the control to the bootloader. BIOS ka kaam khatam. Okay. Now, where the BIOS is? It's in the CMOS. CMOS is responsible for the date and time setting of the, it manages the date and time. Bootloader is responsible for loading the first major piece of operating system to the RAM. This is called the kernel, because what is the operating system? It's an interface between the user and the computer. So the first thing that you require is a portion that needs to communicate to the hardware. Hardware should recognize, bhaiya, mere jaan pehchan wala hai. Somebody who is able to communicate with us. So the first thing that is getting loaded in the kernel, next is the shell. Please remember, while the operating system is getting loaded, the first part that gets loaded is kernel, the next part is shell. Clear the sequence? If you are using Linux, it is called a Linux kernel. Or Windows, it is called WNT, in Windows New Technology Kernel. Actually, NT, Windows NT, wahan se aata hai. Windows NT kernel. Okay. Now when we talk about booting का sequence हम लोग देखेंगे. But what is booting? There are two types of booting. It can be a cold booting. It can be a warm booting. Cold booting माने system बंद हो जाएगा फिर on होएगा. Means when you are starting it for the first time or you are shutting it down and then restart button. You are pressing the restart button. Then it's not system restart. You are shutting down the system, then click on power or click on restart, anyone. This is called cold booting. When we do it through the power buttons or power button or reset button, please remember. The OS is automatically loaded to the system during the cold booting. Entire process is, you can say, repeated. Like the total booting process is repeated. So it takes longer time. Now what happens when we do a system reset or we restart, reboot from while shutting down we do a reboot. There everything is not loaded again. Okay, so what it does, suppose the system hang or the system reaches to a state of no response. So what we do, Control-Alt-Delete, end task, or we do a reboot. So in this case, what happens? Only the portion of the operating system gets loaded. This checking, copying MBR, this you can copying a bootloader, these things are not required. Okay. It's a very long thing I'm trying to cover in a short time. So guys, please be a little attentive. Now, what are the steps that is involved in the booting process? Step first is BIOS is loaded. There are 6 steps into it. Okay. There are 6 steps into it. One is BIOS is loaded. Second is post. Third is loading of the bootloader. Okay. Like checking of the master boot recorder, checking the bootable sequence stored in the after successful completion of post. Now, based on the bootable sequence, it will look for the master boot recorder where it is available. Okay, then it will load from the bootable device. Then, if suppose there is no bootable device, what is the error message that you are going to get? You are going to get the error message as no bootable device found, right? No boot device found. Then comes the system configuration. So here device drivers पहले क्या जाता है? I told you kernel जाता है. So now system configuration is the device drivers are put into memory. They are the part of the kernel, and OS is loaded to ensure proper operation of our gadgets. Next comes utilities. That is in this step, system utilities like antivirus, volume control are loaded to the memory. Then user authentication. In this case, user will prompt the user to input their credential, and based on the credential, the CLI or the UI cell is entered. Like if you have noticed in a multi-user system, when you log in, you get your own background that is set, right? Your own, you can say, what we can say, screensaver, your own wallpaper, your own setting, color setting, choice, everything is done once you log in. Till that, there is a global profile. Now, local profile, it switches when we log in. So, in user authentication, your GUI cell or the CLI cell is loaded. Please remember the sequences, and I have made it here. What is the correct booting order? First is BIOS and setup program. Then post, then OS loads, then system configuration, system utility loads, user authentication. Question कैसे आ सकता है? Choose the correct booting order. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6. 1, 6, 5, 4, 2, 3. इस तरीके से 4-5 options होंगे. You may have to choose. Okay, this is the sequence. First BIOS, then booting device selected, then MBR, then loading OS. If there are 4 options. इसको अगर और भी छोटा करना चाहें, then this is the option. Now let's take some sample questions. From which location are the first computer instructions available on boot up? BIOS. What could cause a fixed disk error? If you have a incorrect CMOS setting, which of the following is not a hardware? The question I was telling you, RAM, cache, BIOS, and IC. BIOS. Which are a part of the CPU? ALU, CPU, control unit, all of the above. DAS maintain the date time of a system. We just discussed CMOS. DAS is a small collection of instructions which is loaded from ROM, BIOS. After the DAS process, the BIOS locates the bootable sequence from CMOS. Post sequences, bootable sequences के बाद आता है. DAS is responsible for initializing the TEE and bind the root of trust. Who does it? Loader, bootloader, right? So which is the bootloader from this? Grub. Grub is the bootloader. So few sample questions I have put. Remaining as time is less, I'll just cover the basic important concept. So cover basic Linux commands and related concepts. What are the various things that you need to cover? First is application and process related commands. Application and process related commands where like which command, yum command, ps command. Which command is what it does? It tells that where the executable file associated with the command is available. Like, see, anytime you give a command like cd, mkdir, cp, these all are programs, these are executables. So where is the executable file with that? It's an open source, right? So where is the executable file? Who will give it? Which will give it? So you can write which, command 1, command 2, like this you can give. Then yum. What yum does? What is the basic difference between yum and install? Yes, people? Yum also loads your dependencies. It's almost same. So this is the way you can't answer, You can't say almost the same. Yum loads the dependencies. You need to be very, very particular in your answer. Overall knowledge will not help you. Be very specific. Okay? Yum command has the ability to handle software dependencies automatically. It not only, it loads the prerequisites, and it also prerequisites mean dependencies. It loads all the dependencies. PS shows the process status. How do you send a process to the background? How do you recover a process from background? Okay, how do you kill a process? Okay, process related all commands. How do you make a cron job? Then console output message related commands like cat, clear, echo, top. How do you print top first 5, suppose ls minus l you are doing of 1000 files. How do you print the top 10 files? How do you print the last 10 files? How do you sort them? Okay, basic commands. Then top, wall, pwd. Acha. In messaging, there are few commands I would like to draw your attention to. Like suppose somebody asks you which command you are going to give to send a broadcast message to all the system. Like any user. Okay, suppose there are 200 users in our system. Currently, as many have logged in, I want to call them for a meeting. So what I will do? I'll write a wall message. Okay, wall followed by the message. Please come to the maybe I'll write, please come to the CEO's chamber, please come to the director's chamber. Then it will go to all the users who are currently logged in, not to all the users in the system. There may be 200 users, but in the current shift, there are only 120 users. You want to send message only to 120 users. There, you'll write wall. Similarly, you want to display the kernel log of a Unix system. How do you do that? DMESG. Okay, DMESG. It displays the kernel log of the system. That means you want to know, suppose there is some device which is misbehaving, which is a bug. There is a bug. How do you trace it? Write DMES. So when you write DMSs, what it will do, it will print the messages that has been generated, or the logs that has been generated by various device drivers. So log tracking, it helps you. Then MSG, if you want to send a message to a particular user, then you write username @host. Similarly, mail to and all various commands are also there. Similarly, user management related, who am I? How do you change the password? Currently logged in user list, who will show you? Who are the current users logged in? Okay. Next is very, 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 very important. Network related commands. Curl command, net start, IP, ifconfig, SSH. How do you use those commands? Okay. So please check on these commands also, and MCQs, various MCQs based on this. Please practice. What is init? How do you shut down a system? We can write init 0, right? To restart it, init 0. So init has 8 run levels. So init is the parent of all processes executed by the kernel during the booting of a system. So whatever process kernel executes when the system boots, init is the parent of all. It creates processes from a script where it is stored, etc init tab. Please remember these locations. Questions may come like which script init uses, where is the location of the script init uses to create process, or maybe dash is the path of the script that is used by init. or all the kernel processes executed during booting are created from dash script, etc. init tab. What is the run level? It's a software configuration that allows only a selected group of processes to exist. Like you can say, like while loading the kernel, you want only certain things to be loaded. जैसे होता है ना that you want to work on a restricted environment, you want to have all the global environment, you want to so init 0, init 1, init 2, like this you can have till 6. Okay, init 6. It's a level of state of init, and the whole system defines what system services you are operating. Run levels are identified by numbers. It's a mode. So how run levels are identified? They are identified by numbers. You can have run level 0 to 6. These are the run level numbers actually. S or S are the various modes. Who can do this init operation? Or some other process? Only a privileged user or the super user can do this by using tell init. Okay. So tell init will send a signal to init to get executed. So this can be one question, like how can the run level be changed? What is the command that is used to change the run level? Currently it is running in a particular run level. You want to run it in a different level. How do we do this? So for that we can use tell init. Okay, again important thing, Linux has got various file systems. It can be ext2, ext3, ext4, ZFS, XFS, RazorFS, UFS, GlusterFS, BTRFS, SquashFS, ZFS, extended file system, Lustre. Now say extended file system, ext2 to 4, these are very popular. UFS, these are very popular. But when we talk about a Windows file system, they're very limited. NTFS, FAT32, FAT16 are the most popularly used Windows file systems. Some cases you can get ZFS and HPFS also. But apart from that, there are no file systems in Windows. DAS is a file system in Windows. They'll put the option NTFS, FAT32, FAT16, then you can say ext2. Got it? ext2 is not a file system in Windows. Next, we'll come to the operating system concepts. So you have to learn, go for process. Then you can say synchronization, like semaphore, monitor, deadlock, sorry, I have missed. Concept of threads. Guys, threads are always important. Okay. Now, what type of questions you can expect here? Scenario based questions. What are the various processes? ये तो हमें सबको पता था, new, ready, running. Waiting and blocked. Waiting and terminated. 5. But you can see something waiting blocked, terminated completed, suspended ready, suspended wait. ये क्या होता है? Like waiting blocked. Waiting blocked मने like it's a deadlock process. Or maybe the process is blocked because it is not having the resource. So it is in the waiting mode and it is in the blocked state. What is terminated? What is completed? Terminated may be the abnormal termination. It may be a complete, it can be a completion also. So completed is a process completed. Terminated is maybe before that. Okay, this is a little bit more, you can say detailed status of a system. Suspend ready. Suspend ready means like your process is running and one interrupt has come. Okay, why I'm explaining? By God's grace, if you're making it to the interview, you will be facing these questions. Suspend ready. So what it is? Suspend ready means suppose your process is running and you are getting an interrupt, right? So your process though is not blocked, it will not go to the waiting process mode also, right? It will go to the ready mode. So it will be going back to the ready mode. What is the status? Suspended. Okay. Next is I have a process. Now I need one IO. So I need to go and stand in the IO queue. So that is suspend, but it is waiting. Waiting blocked. Waiting blocked means I'm waiting, but there is no chance of my getting. My process is blocked already. So then there is a blocked state. The states are where the process states are stored. All of us know it is in the PCB. I have written PCS. Extremely sorry. I'll share it again. Okay. Next comes process concept of threads. We'll give you one scenario. I'll give you. Like say there are many processes those run in the background, even if we are not using it. Like suppose we are writing a article on MS Word. So we are doing some formatting. If there is some grammar checking, there is some spelling, auto corrections. Are you doing it? Are you going to check grammar? No, automatically you get red underlines, you get blue underlines, right? If you are installed Grammarly, you get suggestions. So all these are, and automatically it's getting corrected. Automatically it's coming to the next line. And automatically, suppose you're putting a bullet, automatically the next things are coming in bullet. These are the background processes that is running. Even though you are not explicitly doing it, in background it is running automatically. And how these are done? These are done by the threads. Those are created by the operating system when the word process was getting created. So all the parallel background activities are executed by threads. They are not separate processes. One MS Word is one process. Various internal activities that is happening parallelly are done by threads. It's a multi-threading that is taking place. Clear? Are you all even listening? I can see people are joining us, guests, living. Okay. Thank you. Next, go for the concept of वो हो गया. देन और एक है पेजिंग वाला. वो बाद में नेक्स्ट पेज में मैंने डाल दिया है, ऊपर नीचे हो गया. So concepts of disk management, concepts of memory management, this also needs to be learned. Entire OS का complete MCQs एक बार देख लेना. These are certain things I have got input from one of my old students who is working there, and they are recently placed actually, and few senior students also. So they have given some important areas from which questions are asked. So I have tried to put them together. लेकिन ये कभी नहीं है कि आप इतना ही बस पढ़ के जाओ. Then what is a logical drive? It is a section of an extended partition that can be used to separate information for administrative purpose. And formatting, what is formatting? It's a file system. Formatting by formatting, जैसे formatting when you try to format, it shows no, whether it is a NTFS partition or not, formatting or not, whether it is a FAT formatting or not. क्यों ऐसा होता है कि I put a pen drive in Mac and I'm trying to put it in a Windows system, it's not able to work because the file system is different, the formatting is different. And what is a cluster? It's a file allocation unit, a group of files. So two main processes, partitioning and logical formatting, are always involved by operating system to hold its files. So if I talk about file management, what primarily it involves? So questions can be which is or are, you can say, involved in holding files in operating system. Options will be partitioning, logical formatting, clustering, logical division, like this many things will be there. Multiple options can also be correct. So it can be partitioning and logical formatting, both. Got it? A partition is a logical division of the hard disk that is treated as a separate unit by the operating system. जैसे हमने C drive में कुछ रखा, we kept something in the D drive, we kept something in the E drive, like this. Okay, next comes paging, page allocation, algorithms, all this. What is a page fault? Page fault is, what is a paging? A big file when it is present in the hard disk, we cannot get the entire file to memory. So what happens? Page by page. So there are three parts to it, right? Part 1 is hard disk, part 2 is extended memory, part 3 is your lower memory. Lower memory is maybe 1 page, 2 page, you can access 64 KB like this. Suppose you're watching a movie, it's 2 GB. Now, the processing area is only one small area, that is, you can say 64 KB. So what I will do, I have an extended memory. In the extended memory, I will be getting some data together in the form of page. And page by page, I'm going to process. I'll give you one example. Like every day, maybe 250 grams of rice is getting cooked at your home. So this you like by the side of the gas oven, you have got a small container of 250 grams. So क्या होगा? Every day you have to go to the market, no, to get the rice. So what you have done, you have again there comes a role of virtual memory also. पूरा मार्केट थोड़ी ना घूमते हो, आपका एक दुकान होता है, where एक मुदी का दुकान फिक्स रहता है, where you go to that grocery store and you buy always. So there is one, you can say 1 quintal of rice kept there. You can't go for 250 grams each, right? So you have a store attached in the kitchen store, that is the extended memory. So in the extended memory, I have got a container of 5 kilos. Okay, so this 5 kilos is divided into 10 to 50 grams. Do you understand? 10 to 50 grams. So one lot, suppose batch by, it's a mess, batch by batch people come. So for the group 1, 250 gram of rice is getting cooked. So page 1 is gone. Next comes page 2, next comes page 3, next comes page 4. In this example, you when the last page is exhausted, then you get a page fault. Okay? Now imagine the same situation in case of, you can say, in case of a movie that you're watching. So what happens? Your page, let me show you this here. Okay, so now what happens? This is the disk. This is the memory, RAM. And we have here, this is the lower memory where my page exists. Okay. Now what I have done, here, this is my movie file, a big file. I have put it into the virtual memory. And here I have, one sec. So there are multiple pages that is here. So it's multiple pages that is available here. Page numbering is there. Like this, it is available here. Now, based on the extended memory area that is available, what we will do, just a moment, guys, give me 1 minute. Okay. Now, I know my mic is off. Actually, somebody was in my room. That's why. So see, this particular one, this is your hard disk. This is a virtual memory. Okay. And this is the higher memory or extended memory. There is a page table also. Page table has to be linked. Otherwise, how do you know which number of pages are there? This is the lower memory where actual process is running. Okay. So now there are page numbers. Like this is page number 1. This is 2. Okay. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. Like this page numbers are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. कितना है मेरा पे? 15 pages है. Right? ये last वाला मेरा page number 15 है अभी का. Because continuously I have loaded. तो frame 15 तक आ गया. So what you're doing, you're watching a movie. You're watching a movie continuously. Understood? So frame by frame, it is getting 64 data getting processed. Next 64. So it is requesting for page 2, getting in the map and then coming here. Page 3 coming, page 4 coming. Are you understanding? Like this, the moment you have watched page 15, it will try to search for page 16. There it will go for a page fault. So it will go to the virtual memory, find out which is page number 16 and get it loaded here. So how do you load it? There are various algorithms, page replacement algorithms. There are various algorithms are there. It can be the first one that has come that will be replaced. Okay. It can be the list recently used one. That is the first one I told you. It can be based on various algorithms. This page replacement can take place. Now what happens? आप देख रहे हो movie. आपने क्या किया ना? You have taken the what you can say. आपने खींच दिया उसको आगे. You have forwarded by maybe 10 minutes. एक गाना था. There was a sequence of song. You wanted to skip it. Right? So when you are done it will try to, and that is in page number 19. So to search for page number 19. So there is a request for page number 19, which is searched in this page table. There is a table which says that which is the partition, which is the, where which page is available, which page to which page is available. Okay. Now, if that is not available in the page table, there is a page fault that gets generated. Got it? So now, so page fault is known as the hard fault. It's an exception that the memory management unit raises. These all are important. Who raises the page fault? What page fault is? It's an exception. Who raises it? MMU raises it. Okay. And when it is raised, when the process accesses a memory page which is not available in the extended memory. Now, in order to access a page requires a mapping to be added, right? To whom? To the virtual address space. Which is the virtual address space? Virtual memory that is partitioned. A page fault occurs when a program attempts to access data or code that is on its address space but not currently available in the memory. When you are trying to watch a particular file sequence, so in your program, it is in the particular address. So when it is trying to search that address, that particular area is not available in memory. So what is to be done? Or sometimes this also happens in the reverse way. Like what happened now? You have watched already 40 minutes of movie. Got it? You have already watched, or maybe 15-20 minutes of movie you have already watched. So when this happened, you again, maybe your mom has asked, Acha, what is the beginning? What is the background? You scroll it back. So page is already replaced by that 10. Page is already replaced by that time. So that is missing. Kshitish, which one you are telling, beta? A whiteboard one. Okay, I'll show you. Let me complete it. At the end, I'll show you. Okay, that is there. I have not done anything. So there the page fault occurs. So when the page fault occurs, when program attempts to access a data or code that is on its address space but is not currently available in memory. Language may be changed, but questions can come from this. Next will come to networking virtualization cloud. Learn anything and everything on DNS configuration and IP addressing. Everything. So how DNS configuration is done? It first determines what is the distribution of Linux you have got. Install the DNS server, configure and bind the server. Then which file is going to get updated? Name.conf. Okay, what it will get updated with? With the zone, which zone information, the zone information you will get. Then restart and update the DNS resolver, testing the DNS server. So what is the resolver? What is the job of a resolver? It tries to refer to a library that consists of a collection of functions. Like what it does, domain name translation. Like it translates domain names to IP addresses. How it does it? By querying the DNS, by querying the domain name server. So what is the resolver? What is the job of the resolver? The job of the resolver, resolve karta hai na? Resolve karta hai. Aapne likha www.gmail.com. So how it will be resolved? The resolver is going to map it to the corresponding IP address by querying it with the domain name server. And where is this configuration file available? These places, right? Configuration files, locations, names are very important. It is /etc/resolve.conf. Now, learn various protocols. I have been telling networking mane protocols. All layers of TCP ko pura pani karke pee jana. And it has to be very, very clear what is happening in a layer and what is not happening. Very important. So TCP, UDP both used in the transport relation layer. Now, they in turn use some other layers. Okay. Like TCP uses FTP or SMTP. Where? Transportation layer. In this layer, TCP or UDP is used. Who uses UDP? Telnet. Telnet uses UDP in the transportation layer. Now, suppose a question will be there where this HTTP, you're writing no address HTTP : / something. Then there is a HTTPS secure, right? So HTTPS to beginning se kabhi nahi hota na, first layer se. In a particular layer, this HTTPS conversion or that is taken care of. Which layer HTTPS is taken care of? Very, very frequently asked question. Board mein maine likha hai, prepare everything on IP. What do you mean by IP address? How many types are there? It can be a public IP, it can be a private IP. Who assigns this public IP? Internet service provider, ISP assigns a public IP. Now who assigns the private IP? Router. It's assigned by the router to a device within the network. Please remember these things. What are the ranges of IPs? Class A, Class B, Class C. What are the various ranges? 10 to 10.0.0.02, 255. Class B is 172.16 to 172.31. Okay. Class C is the one that we use normally in our labs, 192.168.0.02 to 255. Subnet mask. Again, another very important concept. Acha, tell me, if you want certain, like certain IP addresses are given to you. जैसे यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा है MNP, 3 IP addresses are there: 100.10.5.2, 100.10.5.5, 100.10.5.6. Subnet mask is set to be 255, 255, 258, 252. Okay, which are the true? Like see, if your device are to be on the same subnet, first 3 numbers has to match. Okay, so they all are on the same subnet. Like if your computer's IP address is 192.168.0.1, then the subnet is 192.168.0. उसके बाद last one is a machine address. Machine address कुछ भी हो सकता है. समझ में आया? So you have to understand what the first one is for. कौन सा gateway के लिए है, कौन सा ISP के लिए, like what is present for what signifies what in a IP addressing. ये सारा चीज पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Then various layers. What is a data link layer does? It does framing, flow control, error control. These are the tasks that is taken care by the data link layer. There is a general misconception like channel decoding, coding is a function of the data link layer. No. Whether the channel मतलब समझते हो? Physical device जिसके through से data जाता है, आता है. How can it be a job of the data link layer? People think that as it is linking two things, it is a job of a linking layer. No. It is a job of a physical layer because it's a physical system. Okay, data link layer mainly deals with framing, error control, flow control. It is a layer where the packets are encapsulated into frames. Very important again. Okay, so channel encoding is not a part of a data link layer. Now, ping command, which protocol it uses? ICMP command it uses. Okay, it doesn't use ping. में हम लोग करते क्या हैं? We are trying to reach to a system, right? Are you sending any data? No. Are you sending any packet? You are just sending a signal. So it is not SMTP, FTP, UDP or TCP. It is ICMP. Remember this. Now learn everything about all services. IaaS, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. Then servers, right. Okay, then software as a service. ये गलती से वही मेरे को लगा. Software as a service is SaaS. Then LAS is logging in as a service. Then DRAS this is disaster as a service, disaster recovery as a service. Okay. Is it visible now? So learn all the services. Few important questions like factors controlling the number of VMs. ये question अपने DevOps क्लास में भी पूछा गया था, है ना? इंटरव्यूज में काफी पूछा गया, सारी इंटरव्यूज में. Factors controlling the number of VMs that can run on a single host. There's a physical RAM and physical CPU that determine how many number of VMs you can run on a single host. Okay. Now, what are the cloud services? Like whose cloud services they use? Walmart, they use Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. They don't use AWS. Flipkart, they have got a tie-up with Microsoft, so they use Azure. Netflix, they use AWS. And what are the cloud services they all use? Software as a service. Because सबका क्या है? E-commerce business है, किसी का movie rendering का business है. So it is SaaS everywhere. Okay, Netflix uses SaaS. Flipkart uses SaaS, software as a service. Okay. Now, Now, which cloud computing service model virtualizes hardware? Hardware virtualization किसमें होता है? LAS होता है. Logging as a service. Okay, login. It's not platform as a service. Platform as a service, people get confused. Because platform as a service में हार्डवेयर सॉफ्टवेयर दोनों होते हैं. It's a complete platform that you're giving. ठीक है, you're creating a platform from them. Instance बनाते हैं, पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देते हैं. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर उसके साथ प्लेटफॉर्म OS देते हैं. समझ में? But when it is called logging in as a service, it's only a hardware load balancer type of thing. Which service comes under server virtualization? ये एक Geeks for Geeks में इसका एक आर्टिकल है. Please go through that. This will give you a good idea about it. Para virtualization, like hypervisors, full virtualization, hardware assisted virtualization, then hardware kernel level virtualization, system level or OS virtualization, high availability, snapshots, load balancing. These are some services that comes under service virtualization. Okay. Now tell me, can we put application clustering as a part of server virtualization? Answer me in the chat. Can application clustering be part of a server virtualization? Now server virtualization में how you can have clusters of applications? Can you tell me? Application hardware है कि software है? पहले बात ये बताइए. तो सर्वर वर्चुअलाइजेशन में हमने जिन जिन चीज के बारे में बात किया उसमें एप्लीकेशन क्लस्टरिंग आता है. मेजर कॉमन मिस्टेक. Okay, application clustering is not a part of server virtualization. Server virtualization का क्या मतलब होता है? You have got a virtual server that is going to host your application. So that is helpful to do the balancing of load. That can be made you available to you. Server is always available. Server is not down. Okay, the OS can be available. How can your application cluster क्या एक ही सर्वर में होता है? हाँ? It's a cluster of applications. Do you get it in one server? Then how it will be a part of server virtualization? याद रखो ये सारा चीज. Okay. Some popular VMs like providers, Oracle VirtualBox you can use, VMware Workstation you can use, MS Virtual PC you can use. These three are most popular, you can say VMs. Be aware, VMware ka workstation. VMware Workstation is the one that is used for virtual, like that's a virtual boxing. Okay, put it into like odd man out, इस तरह का questions, which doesn't suit to the group, इस तरह के questions, these all you will be practicing. ठीक है? So Acha, if I will share this, can just give me 2 minutes time. Somebody was telling to give me the whiteboard. Okay. So any questions, guys? Multi-threading. Multi-threading is, thread is a what? A thread is a, you can say, it's a lightweight instance, right? Lightweight process. So when there are various sub-processes, each of the sub-process can be, each of the sub-process can be handled by your, you can say, can be handled by a thread. Now, when we talk about, yeah, I am trying to do that. Okay. So multiple threads, when we talk about screen recording, I cannot share. Again, it is shared in the SOA. It will be difficult to share the screen recording. PDF, I'm just preparing the PDF. Let it get converted, I'll share. Multi-threading I was telling you about. So what happens now, when, the multiple threads means it's a parallel processing that is happening. So, like I'll show you here. This is one process. Okay. Now on this process, you can have multiple threads, multiple processes, multiple threads parallelly running. So they all share the same code base and the same global area. Okay, when your CS and DS is getting shared, ES and SS they are creating on their own. So this is multi-threading, where multiple threads are running parallelly. It is called multi-threading. And if it's a single thread, the way you all write your program. So the program runs in one thread. It's one sequence. The entire process is one thread. But if I run it into parallel multiple sub-processes, each sub-process runs on a thread. And this is the base process which is getting them connected. Is it okay? Okay, I'll try to share the file here. Sir. Please wait for 5 minutes time. Once sir approves, I'll share the file with you. So please remain in the session. Okay. I'm sharing the PDF file on the chat box itself. And the PDF I have shared on the chat box itself. Check it. Oh, sorry. One minute. One student has just recently messaged, it has gone to him one day. Yeah. Could you find it, guys? Okay. And people who could not download it, others please share it. Okay. So guys, all the best. Give your best, and whatever I have given, go through it, and in and around it, the remaining things also, please practice. Okay. We have got very high hopes on you. Yes, process scheduling also. I could not cover everything, beta. So, few of the topics where I thought that you may be requiring some input, वहाँ पे उसको मैंने cover कर दिया. I've just covered those. Because entire thing, is it possible for me to cover?
Ma'am, PDF is not opening.
Hey, guys, check it. मेरा यहाँ पे खुला है सामने. Is it opening? Yes, it's opening. Probably your download is not complete. Please download it again. And you do one thing, you text me, I'll send you personally. Mane, in this chat itself.
Okay, ma'am.
Theory based are there, numerical calculations. हो सकता है? No idea, my dear. No idea. Computer networking, I told you, no? First topic, models. TCP, what are the layers? Each and every layer's job, and very, very carefully how to do it. ठीक है. Similarly, services. Be very careful कौन सा किसके अंदर आता है. आप लोग सारे पास और क्या मतलब IAS, PAS, SS को बुला रहे हो, मतलब सब एक खिचड़ी बना रहे हो सबका. What is hypervisor? Okay, hypervisor is it creates VMs, you know. It has got using a hypervisor, multiple VMs can be supported on a host system. It's a VM creator, you can say. What is the race condition? Okay, race condition is basically जैसे तुम at a time पढ़ने का भी कोशिश कर रहे हो, लिखने का भी कोशिश कर रहे हो. You are in trouble. That is a race condition. A race condition is when a device that is capable of processing sequentially tries to do the thing in parallel. Then due to some physical limitations or due to the you can say nature of the device system, it's not allowing multiple threads to run concurrently. How do one process is able to do two jobs at a time? It is that means it's creating multiple threads, right? So if multiple threads it is creating but unable to share data within the thread, then because the system is not built like that, then there comes a race condition. So here you have to sequence, you have to put the, you can say threads into sequence. Understood, Kitties?